This is the part you have to do. We chatted about it 2 weeks ago.
You were saying on the phone,
That's right, yeah.
But you're obviously a glutton for punishment.
Absolutely. Now you see, the way I look at it is that the more I can get from you, the more I get to do for you. So,
great. Oh, good. Then I like it.
Sorry, I'm a couple of minutes late.
No problem.
Traffic is fun this time of the afternoon on our little roads.
Getting nuts.
Yeah. But you were in Cape Town. Which video were you shooting?
It's going to be the second single from the album.
Yeah.
War Babies, it's called, and
Nice track.
it's a nice track. And the whole idea of making videos now, they're hardly novel things anymore.
Yeah,
They've been done to death, but there's still the fundamental thing of looking for good pictures, and B, like the album, as I was probably saying to you, anywhere you feel good is bound to heighten the art.
Yeah.
And since our last visit, we've been looking for excuses
to come back.
Yeah, in fact, although I'm here, my partner Charlie he stayed on in Cape Town really this time to look at possible rehearsal or recording places. So,
did you find anything?
Well, he's doing it
at the moment. So he's still down there.
So it was more, when you make a video, you put it out to tender, and other different directors come up with an idea, and probably the concept of this idea, ironically, was more Australian. It's an idea of a walkabout. But it didn't have to be Australian. So where could it be? And Cape Town, and director also knew Cape Town. And then for a second and it was only a second, we get in this crazy thing of, well, we can't go there because of the title of the song. It's too resonant and stuff. And then we thought, to hell with it. That's that. And this is
now.
Exactly. And I guess we were looking at it probably through cynical British eyes.
Well, it can only be. I mean, because you're not
there. But we said, to hell with it. It's going to be fantastic pictures, and so probably drifted through 10 different locations, and it really was. By the time we left yesterday, it was all, apart from the director, everyone else was local.
Okay, that's nice.
And by last night's it wasn't a party, just a drink.
Yeah.
Everyone was best of friends, swapping addresses, and
which is nice.
It's nice,
yeah. And as I said, have you? I mean, obviously, as they were doing the footage, have you seen any sort of parts of the footage that's been shot so far?
I saw on a monitor, there, but even that's hardly. But it looked. I mean, these things, videos in general, they're until they're put together, it's hard. But this director really seemed to have the measure of it. I mean, he had such a great plan worked out, but was still able to improvise.
Yeah.
And I think he's got some great stuff. And I think the combination of images he's put together, and the great whoever was doing the recce and did a fantastic job of finding places in Cape Town that and more to do with characters and faces and places, and as opposed to a touristic swing through.
Sure.
Although you can't get away from the lock, and we would want to, because it is so impressive.
Yeah. But is that sort of an element that you still enjoy doing, is the videos?
On one like that, yes. I mean, still the idea of walking through somewhere miming is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a bit
and
do you at least have some music playing, or?
We do, but it's still ridiculous. It's bloody ridiculous, and it's hard to. It's not hard to not think about it, but it's hard to keep the reality.
Yes.
Piercing through occasionally, like, what are we fucking doing? Just take nice pictures and we'll stand here. It's one of those things that you're meant to be walking down the railway track yesterday singing this song, but it was more recognising the song than delivering it, because that would be ridiculous. Sort of Sound of Music.
Yeah.
But
would be quite enough. But as I say, we spoke about the album, but I thought we could probably get a little bit more on you, which is probably annoying. But as I say, I was thinking, driving here in the car, that 20 years plus, really, for you in the music industry. When is it good to sort of say, enough is enough, or just from I was sort of trying to put myself in your shoes and thinking, well, as much as it's a career and it's great, but you're up against so much, and then you come down, and is it what is it about it that I mean, you definitely don't need to do this. You're doing this because you want to do it, hopefully.
Well, this is it. It's true. I mean, the house and the house and the boat is waiting in the south of France.
Yeah, I mean, as much as it's great. I mean, as I say, please don't take it as a reflection of the album. But I mean, everybody does something, obviously, to make money from it, so that hopefully one day they don't have to worry about.
Yeah. I think we're forgetting one crucial thing here, and I do as well. It's just what we do. I hate to, even on myself, to sound so one-dimensional, because actually I'm not. I would love, and I can't wait to study and learn languages. I can't wait to go to different places and spend some real time as opposed to drifting through. I can't wait to. At some point, I am going to have to put this away, go back to Glasgow. I say have to. I want to.
Yeah.
And get involved with some sort of arts, centre. I do. It's something I want to do. Something I feel I'd be great at. There's all this stuff to do.
Yeah.
It just intrinsically feels like unfinished business.
Yeah.
And regardless of whatever so-called symbols of success the band has obviously achieved, and I guess you stop when you don't have any more ideas, and you're no longer enjoying it. And I mean, it's even now the way that the internet goes and stuff. Even if the label was to say, or any label see it, we could still do our own little thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Simple Minds, and I was probably talking to you after we launched this site, and from people from Kurdistan to Reykjavik.
I was watching.
Argentina.
It's scary, isn't it?
It is scary. So it's kind of always there now.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the long beards and the banjos. But every 2 weeks, after the tomatoes have grown this year and we've picked them, we should do an album. It's what we are, and it's so ingrained.
Yeah. Is it a nice place to be?
It's a very nice place to be, because there is that choice. I mean, it's the ones you see coming back together. There's an electric bill needing paid and such. And
you're going, oh my God,
and you think, God, that's sad. And when they get like punch drunk boxers, and they're probably coming out here, and I shouldn't say this because they're probably got fans, but people always roll out to say, well, the Rolling Stones have done it. I say the Rolling Stones have not done it.
No.
Creatively,
I mean, they're just lucky that enough people are still buying into what they do.
Yeah,
there's no respect there.
It's a bit like going to see the Modern Homes exhibition. Of people just go because
it's there. It's there, and there's all the or
like going to see a military show. People go to see those things.
Exactly.
It's got nothing to do with heritage.
Yeah.
And they are not the example. And no, I mean, and I certainly don't. I know that from. I certainly don't crave that. I don't crave that. Oh, I must be on stage, and I
think that's probably a lot to do with the reason why the band is still so successful today, and it's still respected, because it's almost as if you're doing it for the right reasons. You're not doing it for the typical, the obvious.
I think so. I mean, it's so great. Don't get me. I mean, it's so great when you're on the top of the charts, and I probably said that, but the weight of it all, it does. Even though no one says it to you, and it's still fun, because it's fun. You think, come on, I shouldn't complain. This is what I always wanted.
Yeah,
but it's that thing of we obviously we love what we do. We want to do it. We do everything to let people know it exists, and we hope that it means something to them. If it doesn't, we'll be doing another one next year, and maybe it'll be better, maybe it'll be worse, maybe the fashion will have changed, and it's as we've become so much more, ironically, as we've become so much more sort of relaxed, we have more energy, and we're more adaptable, and it matters as much, yet doesn't really matter at all. I mean, it is true. 2 weeks ago, we really wanted to get on this TV show in Britain, and they were wavering. It's one of these big viewership shows, and they were wavering, and they were going to have us, and Madonna was coming, it wasn't happening, and we knew, and then she wasn't coming, and we really wanted that, and we didn't get it. And for about 2 minutes, Charlie and I, we kicked the walls and stuff, and then we said, the weather's looking good today. You know?
Let's go.
Get the boat out. You know? It's sort of like, it's not to say we don't try our hardest.
No, sure, but because that's important too, because people pick that up. I mean, I think your audience is incredibly critical. Like I was saying to you, you know, that every album you bring out, you've still got fans that, you know, bought the first album.
Yes, that's true.
And they are gauging you on every album. So you bring out a bad album, they're the first people to...
So it's so important to us, but at the same time, I think really the answer to it all is you stop when you're just not enjoying it, and you know, and I think you do have to enjoy it all, because to get a record out now and to get it across, it's you know, so much more and more about all of this, you know, and it's not for everyone.
Are there? No, I'd love a cup of... What are you having?
Coffee, would you like?
Yeah, a cup of coffee. Coffee's good.
For me also.
Thanks.
Yeah. We weren't going to have one, but you smooth talked us into it. That's about it. When it's no longer doing it for you, and you just...
I mean, when you look at, you know, the last 20 years, when you look at when you started, how difficult it was in a different context when trying to establish yourself. But now, when you look at the industry today and the amount of material that is out there compared to even 10 years ago, you know, it was slightly easier to get your stuff heard. But when you look at it now, and you've just got this wall of, and say 80% of it is gunk, but you've got to either get over that or through that. You know, how has that changed?
Well, you, as I say, you certainly have to have the mentality. It's that right side of the brain and left side, you know. It's like, here we are, and you got to go to the record companies and almost take them by the hand, because I don't know, they're expecting us maybe to be jaded or tired or afraid to give us bad news or something, and we go, this is our band, but it's also our business. And we say, what's the story? Okay, why are they not getting it, do you think? And they say, well, you haven't got a hope in hell, they're just not doing your kind of stuff. Fair, okay, so where else can we
what
go?
Can we do?
We can get you on a football show, you know.
Good.
I'll do it, you know. I mean, I don't...
There's no point, there's no point that you can...
There's no point, I'm not going to be, you know,
precious about it and say, well, we'll only do that, but we won't do
fair
that.
Enough. And I think there's a lot of that with Simple Minds at the moment. Again, we're in this stage where we're too old to be the up and coming, yet we're not getting the respect of... I'm not saying this in a bemoaning fact, don't get me wrong, no one owes us anything, but the sheer years involved, we're not at that Neil Young stage yet.
That's approaching fast.
Well, no, they've all got 10 on us, you know, and it's like, hey, they're the real thing, you know. We're still an 80s band, you know. So
that's a terrible thing, because the whole 80s syndrome is a problem, because it was, I mean, to say that was, I mean, I'm an 80s child, for God's sake, so I mean, I grew up with what you were doing, and the 80s aren't really known as being a classic, you know. Well, I mean, as much as to me it's classic, but, you know, the 70s were...
It's the next one. I remember the 70s the same, but I do remember it was like, who would wear flares? You know, and then Lenny Kravitz at the right. Wow. And I think, not that I'm holding out, believe me, I'm not like looking at the calendar, but...
You've got 2 years to go.
You watch, we'll be laughing, you know, and we'll say, who would have thought, you know. It'll be that 2 or 3 years, and it's like, wow, the 80s were so cool. And OMD, what a band.
But they were.
They were, exactly.
But you see, the thing is that you know, it's how things work as well, is that you get compared to the OMDs who tried in the early 90s. I mean, if you can probably count on 10 fingers the amount of bands from the 80s that are still going in the 90s.
And it's the ones that toured.
Yes,
Because if you tour and you're good at that, logically you've got a fan base that even if you're a bit crap or you're not getting the breaks, there's always that encouragement. And I mean, like, whether it was The Cure or whether it was Depeche Mode, even they toured. And they toured a lot. And R.E.M.
And people respect that, because I mean, I know as a music fan, that's what you want from a band.
It's sort of the real thing. It's accepted as the real thing, or certainly not now, because raves are the real thing. But
still battling a bit with that. But
but it's sort of you can't take it away.
No, it's modern culture. It's just
you know. Whereas if you're a band that's played and you say this is what we do, it's our craft, it's our trade. We're entertainers. We did it in pubs, we did it in stadiums, we do it with Pavarotti, we do it with whoever. You know, the nosebleeds. It's there's always that.
If you sort of have to look at Simple Minds, and please, Tom, if you had to sort of categorize, well, in your mind, what was the finest hour for the band up till now? Not to say that your finest hour is still to come, because I mean the possibilities.
I know what you mean. Well, you're tempted to say when it comes together, both sort of critically and commercially, but the finest hour is probably when you're enjoying it the most. I mean, you have to. If you were to look at the finest hour, then you have to get out the charts and say, well, it was that and that. But that's rather mundane. And in fact, quite often they were the symbols of the finest hour. But I mean, Jesus, it's all been part and parcel. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's no one part
one
that's
couldn't
bigger
really
than
live without the other.
Yeah.
I mean, we enjoyed ever so much playing with this orchestra before Christmas. We enjoyed the period where A&R men were coming up on the plane from London to see us. We enjoyed the Mandela concerts. We enjoyed breaking through the big league in America. We enjoyed learning our trade, getting 2 encores in Amsterdam where you would get booed for the first 3 numbers. All of those things start to come back. They were real when you felt afterwards, this is real, this is something that can win people over. This is something that travels the globe. The last few days, it's not history in anyone else, but in terms of Simple Minds Camp, it's history. We went there, we did this thing. It was so enjoyable, and I think by and large, it's always been enjoyable. Although I have to admit, at certain times, looking back now, and it's only now I admitted it was more stressful than others, but because it always seemed wrong to complain, because basically it was what you always wanted, and so get on with it. But no, the finest hour is when you're in the moment of a new song, and the possibilities are endless. There's something about it. Wow, and you don't want even dinner time to come. Don't let this thing go. And I suppose that's an amateur love still. It's a thing that's not eroded by years of. You don't go in thinking, well, we'll know how to sort this one out. They will stick a bridge in. If only it was craftsmanlike. It's so much more. Why does this first thing make sense and the next bit doesn't? And what is the word that would describe this? And the mystery of the whole thing is such a game. Then it's such a sport.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, I think that's the challenge, I'm sure, for you, because say every time you go out and do something, as much as that's sort of what it's become, is that it's you doing it because it's fun for you. Whether people, I mean, obviously it's important that people get it, but what sort of single part of it is the that gets you out of bed in the morning?
Well, it is the doing it. Yeah, it is the doing it, and it's the life it gave us, and it is all wrapped up. But it's the getting out of bed is not a problem, even if to get out of bed to do this is so easy.
Yeah.
And then because it's so all-encompassing, you got to get out of bed days where you don't have to do this to take care of everything else and enjoy and have other aspects in your life.
Yeah.
We've been so blessed with the whole thing. I mean, it's so to tell the truth about it always sounds like gushing, but it's we really have. And if I'm thankful for one thing is that I don't think at any time we ever got blasé with it, because I think in the years to come when you look back and think I didn't enjoy that, I complained.
To the point that you would say, I really don't want to do this anymore. Did you ever get to that point where you just thought, no, I just can't?
There were maybe some times where I thought this isn't fun at the moment.
Yeah.
And you think this should be fun. If you can't have fun doing this, what can you have fun? But it doesn't always work out that way. There's relationships involved and there's people involved, and it doesn't go straightforward.
Yeah.
And your ego sometimes takes a hammer, and it's none of that's fun. But I mean, to sit out here on Johannesburg and have a nice cappuccino. I'm a boy from Glasgow. I mean, wearing a nice pair of velvet trousers. Life's good. I mean,
life is
good. It's good. I mean,
you can't question that. No.
Exactly.
No, you're right. But
actually, I was thinking one thing. One of the greatest moments was because you need critically. You need that too. You need it at a certain stage. You especially need it.
Yeah.
And when we got it, unfortunately, we got that, but we were so in debt. And I remember our manager putting together a meeting. I was trying to get a mortgage for my parents, and he put the meeting together with the Royal Bank of Scotland. And I was telling this guy about it all, and he said, but I don't see you in the charts. And I said, so the immortal words of your bank manager, but we're really hit. And he gave me this look. He said, do you want a mortgage based on being hip?
And it would be nice.
It must mean something.
It means something to me.
So, yeah.
And suffice to say, did you get them all?
Did, yeah.
All right.
Did, yeah.
Well,
eventually. I had a man called Richard Branson call him and convince him we were indeed a wee bit more than hip.
Yeah, because that must have been an interesting time as well, the early stages of the band, being on a label like this.
It was. You were unlike other labels who you would go in and they would have pictures of James Last or Barry Manilow on the wall. You would go in there and it would be Captain Beefheart or John Lydon or, Per Ubu and it was very exciting.
Yeah.
And it was like a squat they were working out of, or a squat that they then bought and renovated, but still a squat.
Yeah.
And it was indeed, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did it matter at that point, how big it got? I mean, were you thinking when the band started that this band's going to be the biggest band in the world?
No, there's only one band I believe in the world that's ever thought that, and it's U2, and great for them, they went on and done it. But I really believe, I don't know if, I think he even told me that they got together and they said we want to be the best, the biggest, not the best. They said, I think the best goes without saying.
Yes.
But they wanted to be the biggest band in the world, which in a funny way to me seemed such an obscure thing to desire.
Yeah. That was never the drive.
It was never, no. With us it was so much more, with us it was so much more making it up in the moment.
Yeah.
We're playing in Croydon tonight. Yeah. Fucking hell, I hear this is a real tough audience. Yeah. And then you would do it. Yeah. And a year later it would be, we're playing in Hammersmith Odeon. Wow, if we could do 2 nights the next time. And gradually we became a big band.
Which I think is probably to your benefit that it did go that way.
And, so when people say, when people try and compare with even other bands as well, you say every band has its path, and I think I back it up by people. We never ever had heavyweight management, and it was all a bit not amateur by any means. No, but sort of.
But it never went over the top.
No, it was on the level.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the likes of U2, and for sake of the fact that they were 2 nights ago, I still pains in my legs, but standing 8 hours. 8 hours. Yeah, it was good. I must admit.
I saw we managed to. I finished the shoot and I saw the last half.
Yeah,
it must have been great.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
I'd been in the house about a month or so, and I came out.
Excuse me? Are you okay?
Fine, thanks. I came out to check out the sky, and in the courtyard I heard this scuffling, and I'm thinking, what is this? And I said, hello, my heart's going like. And these 2 real sheepish guys come out from Glasgow with cameras, and I said, hey, you going through my garbage? And they were like, I said, come on, and they were like, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to say it's your boss and stuff. And they just, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Give me a knock the next time. Let me know. If that's how you if that's the kind of life you're gonna have,
yeah.
you know. And I think things like that. I mean, that's what it was, and that's it. And kind of just about anyone in our game gets it now.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
but I mean, you see,
not that makes it right.
No, and that's the sad thing, because the rules change all the time. But by you releasing a commercial album to a commercial record company who is this great big bank that has a lot of money that you can promote and basically sell your soul in music, you can't argue. You can't say, you can't be precious about it and stand back and say, but it's just about the art. The art is a vital part to everyone to the people who listen to it. But you basically giving it out there, and you are selling. So, unfortunately, as you say, you get those.
You're trying to go through the water without getting wet.
Yeah,
and
you can't.
And it's very, very difficult.
Yeah,
it's very, very difficult. And no one has any sympathy.
No,
and no one gets it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Go to Barbados then and live. Millionaire.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no one. It's kind of. It's kind of the way it is. I think as I say, you get a mechanism, and Charlie and I will say, we'll get it out our system, and then we'll be in music land. Smaller people around you, can't cope with it, or don't know, or stuff like that. So it's what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'll be so quick and going out with a showgirl the next time. A chorus girl the next time.
Give me some ID. Let me see. You got to. If you're in any way remotely attractive, happen to have a career in anything in entertainment, I don't want to know about it.
I don't want to know these chorus girls anymore.
Are you still? I mean, obviously, would you still entertain getting married again?
Not while I was doing this. I mean, I like to think I'm not cynical or embittered, but it's why do it not be there?
Yeah.
I mean, people can't cope with it. I can cope with it.
Yeah.
And I could. Yeah. And I never left on both occasions.
Yeah.
I mean, someone said, they left, and they also left with somewhere to go. I mean,
how does that make you feel? I mean, now that you look at Patsy and you go, she's now, with him. And
no, it had already gone.
It had gone. There was the gap.
It already gone.
Yeah.
It's already diminished.
Yes.
And it's sad, and you want them to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean,
you think she is happy?
It's a thing.
I
couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't.
She wouldn't let me tell you.
No.
So,
no, but it's just interesting because that you would.
I mean,
it is because it's very extreme.
They're people. They're still people you love,
Yes.
And if, in the case of the mothers of your kids, for the sake of the kids, it only benefit if the mothers are happy. And so,
I mean,
it's bizarre. I mean, my dad's just like the fucking Mansons with you. It's just people all over, and it's unstructured, and yet he says, and everything else you do with your life is apparently I'm sort of meticulous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I said to you before, with this case of your life, your personal life, and your music life, sort of ran in tandem at the time of both of those things, because when you hit us, when you hit a low point, that was when the band sort of went whoa. Yeah. But then, as I say, you come back. You come back, but every time you come back better.
I think so. I think so. I mean, you know what it was too. I mean, and this sounds sort of callous to the other people, but they were such fantastic challenges. To fall in love and to be with these kind of women, and what was going. They were great. I mean, you have to live for something. It's all part of it, and and the facts, the figures, the statistics would have said it'll never work, but you cast that to the wind, and you move on. And someone said, well, the other day someone said, when you were a father. I said, what do you mean when? I still am. And it just goes to a different level.
Yes.
And for that matter, I could talk tonight to my friends in Glasgow that would be going through a similar thing, but it's just so much more public, interest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. People always want to know other people's pain than their own. So they go, oh well, he's not doing too good, so that actually because people are envious of other people. I mean, generally, the fact that you've had this fantastic career, you still have this great career.
Yeah, well, people
it's
want
not
to know
fair,
about it. People want to know about it, and that's
not a problem.
It's all what it is, and it all makes for a very rich life.
Are you happy with where you are now?
Very happy. I mean, I think tempted to say the sort of happiest, the most sort of as I was saying, both the most driven and at the same time relaxed. It's all a bit very, very creative. Lots of ideas outside of this as well, and totally appreciative and thankful of everything we've had to date. So there's no feeling of, oh God, I wish that had worked, or I mean, blessed not only being able to do this, to have good health, and even within my family, they're still all alive and going well and stuff. I mean, there's be some tough tests up the road. So been dealt really such a great card. Touch wood.
Great. But I must admit, I found the Glitter Ball single very interesting.
Yeah.
With the jam and spoon.
Yeah, and all that stuff going on.
And strangely enough, I thought it's never going to work. How can such a classic track?
Yeah.
Or tracks?
Yeah, I was the same. The same. It's to me.
Did you do that intentionally, or did you say, well, take get a jam and spoon and say, well, look, I want to see what you can do with this.
It is, to be honest, it's a marketing thing, and they come and they say, give it a go, and we say, okay, who's the hot shots?
Yeah.
Because I'm not there at 4 a.m, listening to it all.
Yeah.
And they'll say, listen to these guys and listen to this, and we'll say, let's take a shot on this, and it's all a bit hit and miss.
Yeah. Were you happy with them?
Yeah, happy because I was cynical. I thought, we're not going to get away with it. Trendy places aren't going to play it, and trendy radio won't, and they have.
I think because it wasn't just typical, because I was expecting your 3.5 minute
song
rework,
and
they weren't. They were literally right down. Which in a way it sort of says a lot about the songs that you've written, because they work in a completely different environment altogether. Something that you personally probably would have never come up with.
Yeah, I mean, I was cynical, but starting to sort of relent, because every week more and more of these people are in touch with us, wanting to either sample or get permission to use or whatever. So although I'm saying it's not a culture that's at the top of my... Yes, we do have some genetic links to those kind of sounds. It's not completely chalk and cheese. There is a history there, and it's great if they can carry the baton and take it into an area
where
again.
It's
that's what Simple Minds have to fight for, because we don't have a single audience now that's sitting waiting on the MTV or sitting waiting. I think people, they're good. I thought they'd split up. And maybe get their album later.
Yes, yeah. Or even pick up a single.
It's up to us to get into the places.
Yeah, because you are fighting for a smaller piece of a market now.
Exactly.
Ultimately. I mean, even U2 have suffered from it. REM suffered from it. It's not just a case of, well, yes, you may be the biggest band in the world, but it doesn't translate.
The only thing I'd love to see how U2 would have got on. For instance, you say them because I'd love to see how they've got on with their best album.
Yes.
I mean, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, they're my best friends, but
I bet.
It wasn't a good record. To see this kind of hype with a great record, maybe it would have. But you're right, there is very few. I mean, you think, if we're thinking of the 80s, people saying to me, things diminished. I said, what about Bruce Springsteen? Dire Straits. It's part of the. It's part of the thing. There is a cycle to it.
Yeah.
And then I think you then find a niche. I think. I mean, we're talking to the record company. I said, look, they didn't like you, and I said, you have to let us become, some poor term, You have to let us become in that band for a while.
Yeah.
There's no point in us trying to compete with the Verve.
Yeah.
Or trying to compete with us. Let us go off and do this mad thing that we're going to do. And I guarantee you, we will find a song eventually that'll
just
fit.
Yeah, and it's not actually about the song, it's just the time.
The moment.
Yeah, the moment.
And it'll fit, and it'll be like throwing kerosene on everything again, and you'll get your payday.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, think of it that way.
Yeah.
Because it is ultimately that way. I mean, I think a lot of bands have suffered from that because the first 3 albums are expected and people buy them because of that. But then later on in your career, you have to try a lot. Well, they're not as expected.
Yeah.
You have to wake them up and say, well,
this is it.
Yeah.
No, we had to see the record company look them in the eyes. Look, you've all been paid. Yeah. Don't be fucking greedy. We have to do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been paid as well, but you've really been paid. We're going to do this, and it's the way we're going to go, and don't get disillusioned.
Thank you very much.
All righty.